A relation is simply a set of ordered pairs. It's that simple. And here's an example. We are ordering them, in other words, these numbers that come first come from one set, which is called the domain. And then these second numbers that are listed after the first come from one set, and that is called the range. And so it's very important that they're paired together a certain way and that they're ordered. So this number comes first and this number comes second. That's what they're talking about there in the order. Now, listing ordered pairs is not often very useful. Usually we'd like to see a graph, and so I'm going to show you here. We use the rectangular coordinate system to graph our ordered pairs or to graph our relation. And where does this idea of rectangular coordinate system come from? Well, if we draw a rectangle, one thing you'll notice about a rectangle is it takes up two dimensions. So you have a horizontal direction and then you have a vertical direction of the rectangle. And so that's exactly what happens here. We have a horizontal axis called the x-axis and a vertical axis called the y-axis. And those two axes represent, they both pass through what we call the origin. So this point here, the x value is 0 and the y value is 0. And that is the origin. So 0, 0. Now that's actually not part of our relation, so I should probably not write that. Let me erase that. That's not part of our example. But that is a location called the origin. Okay, so if we're going to graph these, the first numbers refer to x, the x-axis. So if we're looking for 1 on the x-axis, we go here. And then the y, the vertical direction, refers to the second value. So this is 2. So we're going to start at 1 on the horizontal axis and then move up to 2 on the vertical. And so this point right here is 1, 2. And the order is very important. That's why we call it a set of ordered pairs. Because if we had the order mixed up, if we had 2 first and then a 1, we would be looking first here and then going to this spot. So we would be here at the horizontal and then up to the 1. Okay? So the next point, the x value is -5, so we go to -5 on the x-axis, and then we go to 3 on the y-axis. And you can see why they call it a rectangular coordinate system, because as I'm finding that point, I'm making a rectangle. I'm going to -5, and then I go up to 3. And I should probably label these. This is 1, 2, and this is -5, 3, and 0, -1. Here at 0 on the x-axis, and then down -1 takes me right here. That's 0, -1. And then if we plot this, we have 0, 2. So again, we're here at 0 for x, and then y is 2, so it takes us up here. This is 0, 2. And then here 3, here at 3, and then down to -3 takes us. And as I'm plotting these points, you can see that I'm kind of making rectangles. I go over to 3 and down to -3, and that kind of forms a rectangle. That's why they call it the rectangular coordinate system. There are 2 dimensions, and so it's a set of 2 variables, x and y. And the axes divide this rectangular coordinate system into 4 quadrants, we call them. And we label them, we always start at the upper right quadrant, and that's 1. Moving over to the upper left quadrant is 2. And then down to the lower left is 3. And to the lower right is 4. So we have 4 quadrants and 2 axes. Now, you'll notice that some of my values or points lie on the y-axis in this example. those are not in any quadrant. Those are lying on the axes. The axes are not part of the quadrants. The quadrants is the space around the axes. Okay?